A giant Elegoo 3D printer, and well, another 3D printer that I think is kind of overlooked. Okay, so first off, there's something that I think it kind of surprised me. So what happened? There's a company called Donaustahl, which is a Bavarian company in Germany. It seems to be a small company that manufactured butt stocks and universal stocks for pistols. Um, they are now going to be making the Titan Falcon 3D printable drone. Right now, that's a drone that is UAV. Right, that's a battery operated, or it has I think it's a battery operated drone. Not 100% sure, but it's a 6 hour 6 hour flight time, range up to 400 kilometers, and three of them are being tested currently. And so there's a couple of things here that make this less than usual. Let's say. So first off, um, this Donaustahl company is a company that hasn't made drones before and just pivoted into doing this for this one particular assignment. The drone itself is being commissioned by an NGO on behalf of the Ukrainian government. So that's interesting as well. That's something that we don't see every day, but has been happening on and off in Ukraine. And the other thing is that drone is actually designed by a company called Titan Dynamics. It's a US based company. They are like a drone designer. So they use CFD, design for additive manufacturing, their own knowledge to design drone packages. And you can literally download the files like you would on Thingiverse, pay them $15 for the files. In this case, I think it's also a license to make one, and then you're off to the races. So this to me is a model that we all know this from Thingiverse. We all have talked about, like, designers making money off of this. And I thought about this for soap dishes and all this other stuff. I never really thought of this for like something as complex as a drone. And also, like, is this somehow the future of all manufacturing? That you start a small group of really well positioned, really experienced designers, and then you make the designs, you test it out, and then other people just license and print your designs. Right? Is that the future of all making, or it's just a one-off? Now, and another thing that I think is really interesting is this something that is going to be happening more in the defense kind of things? Like, imagine if the U.S. government bought the files for the drone, had another contract manufacturer manufacture this instead of going to a defense contractor. Right? Wouldn't that be much more efficient for them in certain things to outsource the design, outsource the manufacturing? But instead of somebody else owning the design and having a lot of power and delaying a lot, they own the project management part. Right? That could be something that I think would be well worth looking into. And also, are we going to see disruption in the value chain of this? Are other arms manufacturers going to say, "Well, I've been making cannons for 200 years. I would like to try this new drone thing out for size," right? So this is all a lot to think about, I think, and I don't know if this is a good drone. I don't know if it's going to work as advertised, but I think this is a significant development anyway in the democratization of drones, which we must realize could be very, very bad indeed, or could be quite good in the long run. We don't know. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a printer, and it's the Elegoo OrangeStorm Giga. Now, I saw this thing at Formnext, and it's huge. It's completely, totally huge, right? And it was at Formnext, and this thing was 800 by 800 by 1 meter 3D printer that has up to it comes with one nozzle, but you could put four more on it. It's a clipper. It weighs about 76 kilos altogether, and it's priced at $2,000. The people that did there's a Kickstarter going on at the moment. The people that initially got this gigantic thing for $1,200, right? And then the other people are going to get it for $1,500 or something like that, which is it's a big hunk of metal for $1,500. Now, so Elegoo, most of us know them as making really cost-effective, really cheap kind of resin printers. They also make kind of entry-level FDM printers, but this is a major branching out. We've always expected these companies to go up in the world, right? So the entry-level guy doesn't want to sell printers for $200 anymore. They want to go towards the professional market. But I like this very much because it's like, wait a minute, isn't this a beautiful niche? Like, imagine you're a company, like you're a shop, right? There's four of you. You make a car, you make custom car parts, something like that, right? You've got some machining. It's quite a small operation. You'll need a 3D printed mold a couple times a year, maybe. You'll need a 3D printed jig every couple of weeks, maybe at most, but probably not even, right? But for that kind of company, especially if you're used to making big things, if we're making bumpers and stuff like this could be a super cost-effective thing. I mean, even if you use this thing like 3, 4 times a year as a business to print out a part that's like 50 by 50 50 centimeters, this could be hugely effective for you. Imagine like a jig, right, a really large jig or something like that for holding a bumper or something like that. That could be really expensive to make with CNC or with outsourced 3D printing. So I'm thinking this is like a new machine to me. This is like a machine that's like a large or medium format through FDM 3D printer. That's like a casual use machine for companies, right? And I think this is like, is this a niche? I don't know, right? If you're a business owner, please comment. Please tell us if you think this is like a good idea or not. And I also don't know if the thing works well. But imagine if it does. Wouldn't this be a really cool new application, a cool new product line, rather than us all trying to make better Ultimakers effectively, or us all trying to compete with Bamboo Labs, which is going to be very difficult? Um, you know, wouldn't it be really interesting if people found niches like this and say, "Hey, it's a big tool maker printer actually, and it's really effective, and you're going to use it 4 times a year, but pay for $2,000, that's fine." I don't know. I thought this is just something I was I've been thinking about, that this could be a new niche, let's say. The next thing I've also been thinking about is another printer I saw at Formnext, and this is the Zaxe Z3s. Now, Zaxe is a Turkish 3D printer manufacturer. I'm not familiar with them. I've never used one, or I've never tested one. I've never owned one. I don't have friends that own them either. So I know very little about them, right? So this is not an endorsement in any way, but I saw this thing and I don't know, there was like high wind rails on it, right? It's a 4K machine, just thereabout. It seemed to be really well made. It seemed to be really well put together. The finishing on it was good. The fabrication seemed to be good. Components were like high wind and other kind of like high end components. It's got a E3D Revo, a high flow nozzle on it, Core XY, it's Clipper. It's got a 32-bit processing board, auto calibration. Chamber only goes up to 65, but it's an insulated chamber, which could be give you better results in ABS and stuff like this. I'd like it to go up more, obviously. The software looks quite slick. They've built their own kind of software layer around this whole experience, which I thought was very, very nice. Sturdy steel body. There's a HEPA and a carbon filter on it, and there's a little magnetic pay sheet, Ultem sheet that you can take off, which should make printing quite easy. And I was just thinking to myself, like, well, this thing looks really good. And this is the thing about the comment from before. This is someone trying to make a better kind of business printer for like a business company. And I thought this was just really nice to see somebody out of like a place we don't expect, Turkey, to come there and come up with like at least a very credible, very well finished printer. No, I don't know. I'd love to see at one point, if you have experience with this thing, good or bad, please let me know, because I'm super duper curious about it. I really, really want to learn more. And maybe these guys have been like selling thousands of printers and I just have not come across them. But I was just quite amazed and quite buoyed actually to see somebody make not another Prusa clone kind of thing, but something that I think could be quite a good solid mid-market system that could be an option for businesses and stuff like that. Anyway, my name is Joris Peels. This was 3D Printing News Unpeeled, brought to you by 3dprint.com. I hope you have a very wonderful day.